Charlize Theron and her group of immortals come to Netflix in the original film, The Old Guard. Now lately, some of the big budget Netflix films that we've been getting haven't been particularly good. Does this one change the game? A group of immortal warriors who have remained hidden for a long time are suddenly exposed, and they have to fight to keep themselves secret when a new immortal is discovered. This is based off of a comic or a graphic novel, and I haven't read it, so I can't speak to the accuracy of the film to the source material. But one thing I do know that they retained from the graphic novels is Charlize Theron carries around this just round battle axe type of thing, and man does she know how to wield it. The action in this is pretty fun. There's a lot of hand-to-hand combat as well as gun battles. Some scenes are long takes and then others employ some really quick cuts. I liked the long takes. I thought they were done really well because it just added to the excitement, and it just, that seamless look always is so awesome to watch. The hand-to-hand combat is also a lot of fun because it's quick and it's brutal, and they put the characters in some situations that are just close quarters. And so it really amps up just the claustrophobia of, oh my gosh, I don't have a full range of motion, and so I have to do everything really close to the body, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. I think what makes the action in this so much more fun too is because we're dealing with a group of immortals, so they can't die. So the question really becomes, what are they gonna do to accomplish their goal? I mean, what crazy thing are they willing to do? And sometimes they do some pretty crazy stuff. I like how they introduce some of the complications into the story, and some of it has to do with medical research and the medical advances that could come from studying an immortal, because obviously there's something different about them than just regular people. The medical aspect is kind of the driving force, but it also takes a little bit of a backseat as well, because you have just these immortals who are really trying to keep their anonymity. And in a world where now everything is connected and there's cameras everywhere, it becomes harder and harder. And I like their struggle and the struggle that they have just between them all, because, you know, some of these people have been together for a really long time. Most of the acting in this is pretty good. I mean, there are a few moments that I felt the acting was forced or cringy, but on the whole, it was fun to watch. I really like how brooding the team of immortals are, because you figure they've had such long lives that they've become jaded, that they've just, you know, nothing really shocks them anymore. So they have learned a certain just patience or just a calmness to them where they, you know what, I'm not fazed by all the stuff that phases all kinds of other people, because you're freaking out about this tiny little moment, and to me, it's really, really tiny moment. And they have learned the lesson and the art of patience and silence. And that plays into the pace of the movie as well. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes long, and it is patient at times, but I never felt that it would drag. I wasn't bored. I didn't feel like, oh gosh, can we just move this along? I mean, I really appreciated some of those down moments because we got to see more of the characters, and we got to experience more of who they were, even by subtle silences or subtle looks or just minor lines of dialogue. I love how the film contrasted the reserved and resigned attitude of Theron's character, Andy, because she's the oldest of the immortals, so she's been around the longest, and they match that up against the newest member, Niall. And she is understandably just uncertain about what's going on. She's rash in her decisions. When you compare the two characters, you could say that Andy is stoic, but really it's just her dealing with the weight of time. I enjoyed the cinematography and the scenery of the movie, but I do wish at some points it maybe would have lingered a little bit more on some of the older places. Now, it's not going to add to the story any, but just as a visually pleasing type of thing, I would have liked to have seen more. They spend time in a cave, which has some interesting things within it, and while that's not necessarily part of the scenery, just it builds a little bit on the story, but I could have used more of that. I like the tension that's built up in this. There's a slight urgency that is created by outside forces closing in, and it adds to the thrills, but I also like that there are some storylines that are teased, that maybe they will be uncovered or examined in maybe future films, because maybe they want to make this movie into a series like the graphic novel is as a series, which I would be okay with because I had fun with this movie. The story's pretty easy to follow, and I really do like the chemistry between all of our characters. I mean, you feel that there is truly a team of people that have known each other and relied on each other for a super long time, that they have each other's backs, that they know each other so well, and that there's really not any secrets, that they have just an insight into each other. And I liked that because it came across convincingly. Overall, this is a good action flick with some wonderfully shot fight scenes and a fun story. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and some really brutal violence. I give The Old Guard 4 out of 5 couches. Have you been looking forward to this one? Does it sound like something that you're into? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.